Hello, this is Nick from Suicidal Angels. You are watching MULATSCHAG TV, the only TV you need. Thrash up.
You've already made quite some friends here in Austria. You went on tour with Belfagor. Remember that one?
Yep, of course, it was like 4 years ago. Yeah, and it was also a really interesting tour because it was like Cataclysm, Belfagor, Duskets Hour, us, and it was like, a really weird and interesting package with all kinds of metal music. Apart from that, it's not only the bands that have already made friends in Austria, but also every single one who is coming over to the shows and enjoying the music, having a good time, spending their nights here, drinking some beers after on. Everybody goes happy other places afterwards.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Well, one thing, you guys are from Greece. Lots of metal bands, they use ancient symbols and stuff like that. Were you ever interested in that Greek history at all yourself?
I know about Greek history. I know quite a few stuff. I mean, I'm not an expert, of course. I'm just, as everybody, I guess, it's just reading, getting educated, and if you look back into the Greek history and all these Greek symbols and stuff, you will find a huge meaning and a huge. How can I describe it to be more precise? You can find a whole different history behind these symbols. It's like sometimes they were trying to hide something behind the symbol. Sometimes they use the symbols in order to, provoke the gods or to call the gods. It was like a really, really weird thing. But to be honest, I don't know which is the truth behind all this, because some of them are mythology, some of them are real, but what you find on, for example, the ancient temples and stuff, these are the ones who actually make quite an impression, and not only because of the symbol, but how could they actually make this at that height and be so precise and so detailed and so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what actually impresses me, not the symbol itself, but how did they have?
How could they be so smart?
Exactly. I mean, they didn't have anything back then. I mean, like machines and stuff.
Yeah.
How could they actually create all this wonderful stuff?
With a lot of time, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of slaves.
Yeah.
A lot of people died to get all this stuff. Unfortunately, yeah.
But you never thought of bringing that into the music of Suicidal Angels?
No, but that's a nice idea. Maybe I can I can think about it later on.
One other thing, just recently you moved to Germany, the whole band.
Exactly. Yeah, we're living in Stuttgart area, outside Stuttgart.
Must have been a tough decision. I mean, leaving home.
No, it's not a tough decision because it's not like leaving home because as apparently we're most of the times we're on the road.
Yeah.
So more or less we're not at home anyways, or we spend like 2 or 3 months home and then we get again on the road or traveling all the time. So in order to avoid all this traveling, for example, if we had to play in Austria, we had to get up in the morning, get the plane, fly 2.5 hours, come over to Vienna or wherever, picked up by a van, go over to the hotel. I mean, it was like a whole run. So it's not, as you understand, it's not that easy to happen. So we just decided to move to Germany to decide somewhere more into the Central Europe, more in the Central Europe, and be closer to all the other countries around.
Right.
Driving distance, for example, it saves a lot of money, it saves a lot of time, and especially helps yourself not to be fucked up during the concert, because if you wake up if you have to catch a flight at 7 in the morning, you have to be in the airport at 5, so you have to wake up at 4, and you play in the afternoon. So it's like you go on stage and you just play like, okay, let's go plug it in and play.
Speaking of touring, tell us about your experiences now in South America.
South America was really, really interesting because people down there are thirsty for metal music. I was really impressed, especially by the show in Mexico, that the audience, around 300 people, didn't sing only the chorus, but they were singing along the whole song,
Wow.
start to end. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, this is really great. People are really passionate down there. They love metal music. You know, sometimes it's really can become really difficult because there are long distances and you have to fly from one place to another. It's not like Europe that you can drive. Maybe like you can get 10 hours, but you can still drive. Over there, they have time differences between their own cities, you know. To go from Mexico to Sao Paulo, we spent in the plane like 8 hours or something. And they had 2 hours difference as well. So you mean, as you understand, it's really huge, the whole thing. Yeah. Apart from that, it was a really, really nice experience. It was our first time there, and I think that within 2014, we're gonna be again down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course it has to be the States, right?
Sorry?
It has to be the United States then. You have to go there and play at some point in time.
Of course, we want to play in the States too, but for the time being, we're just searching for the right opportunity and the right package that we can jump on and just go over to the States as well.
Right.
So we didn't have, something really interesting so far. That's why we haven't been there anyway.
There should be more thrash metal tours now. I mean, I see all the 80s bands coming back, you know.
We're living in this thrash revival the last 5 years, if you want to say so. This is, it's like, there are a bunch of bands from jumping out from all over the world, all the places like Europe or South America or the States or Germany or whatever, and they have pushed the whole thrash back into the surface again. Yeah. So along with this thrash revival from the young bands, the bigger bands also were helped by this, and they just they just got the flame back, and they are again on the road, and they again play. And we, the younger ones, have the chance to share the stage with them, have this chance to see bands that we haven't seen in the past because they were like just splitted. I believe that this whole thing is like a revolution coming back or something. Yeah. Really interesting for me. I enjoyed it, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
Oh yeah, it's great to see bands like Anthrax being that active again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the fact that we participated in, we played in Sonisphere in Athens with the Big Four. This was like a real unique experience. You don't have this chance every day. You know what I mean, right? So this was like Anthrax, Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica being in the same backstage with them. Is like, wow, it was great. Yeah, a really unique experience. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying any. It was a really, really serious thing.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Who was the coolest?
The coolest one?
Backstage.
Scott Ian and I think Tom Araya. Those two.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. With those two, I spent most time. I had the chance to drink a Coke or a beer and say a couple of words.
Yeah. One other thing. It seems that Leah has become the fifth member in the band already. What's it, the fourth record now with him as producer?
Yeah, it's the fourth record. Leah is, since the very beginning, apart from the job part, apart from the job thing, apart from the business and stuff, more or less he's a friend. We don't see it as like producer and band. We never saw it like this. He didn't see it like this from the first time as well. We really enjoyed each other's company. We really enjoyed each other's friendship, and we are having a really nice time. And that's why we keep working with Leah, because also his ideas sometimes are really cool. Or, he's not of the guys that is like, you say you will do this because I say so. Just, guys, let's try this like that, or let's try like that, the other thing like that. But I'm saying, or me or the other guys, Leah, we have thought this to be in a certain way. Just listen to it first, and it's like talking with a friend about your music. It's a really interesting cooperation.
Yeah, and it keeps going.
Yeah, of course. Since it keeps going, You know, the thing is that even if we work with an art producer for an album in the past, Leah will always be there, you know, just, he's a friend, I told you. Apart from the business thing, he's a friend. Even if we work with an art producer, I know that Leah will be in the studio with us, kicking our asses, usual stuff.
Well, when you're on tour, are you still in contact? Like writing an email saying, "Hey, Leah, we're in,"
Yeah,
I don't know.
More or less. And of course, when I'm home, we also speak on the phone. I mean, now that we are in Germany, we will be easier for both of us, you know, to go out with his family. We have already met his wife and his kid. So it's like really nice. As I told you, we're friends. It's not, the business thing is like 8 hours in the studio, and it's not even business. It's like fooling around. Yeah.
One more thing. That you did something interesting in 2007, the Theogonia Balkans tour.
Yep.
I was just wondering. I mean, you've been touring Germany and Switzerland, Austria, wherever. Going to those countries that just started, you know, coming into Europe, put it that way. I mean, Bulgaria and Romania.
Yeah, it was like Hungary, Serbia. I think it was like 2 weeks of touring. This was our first tour with the guys from Road to Christ. They're friends of ours, and they invited us to be part of their tour of the eastern part. The funny thing is that we didn't have a record already out at that period, so we went over with our first official EP called Armies of Hell. Our first record, Eternal Domination, was out the summer of 2007, like 3 months later. So this was like a really unique experience because we were like 20 years old. It was the first time to be on the road for a long period. We had done in the past some one and offs. We had played once in Romania, in Bucharest. We had played once in Germany in a festival called Thrash Till Death in 2005, but it was our first time to be on the road for like 2 weeks. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what even to bring with us. I mean, shall I bring a pillow? Shall I bring some clean mattresses or sheets or whatever? I mean, it was like, what?
Right.
So we took our bags, we took our guitars, got in the plane, meet the guys in the airport. I think it was in the airport of Budapest. I think that was the first one, the first show. So it was a really tough experience because when you tour the eastern part, it's not like the European Union.
Yeah.
They have borders. They have different money between them. Sometimes the things on the borders can be really tough. Sometimes you have to pay on the borders the guys so they can just don't fuck up with you and don't turn the whole bus inside out.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, the roads are not that good as the Central Europe, and sometimes, you know, the bus is going like this, so you cannot even sleep in there. But apart from all these difficulties, we didn't care because it was our first tour, and we were so excited, and we're going on stage every night, you know, like 20 years old kids, like, oh, go. It was perfect. I mean, it was really nice.
And I'm sure the metalheads there are the same as everywhere.
I think, but I believe that because they are also, at least they were, a bit more thirsty than the Central European ones, are most of the times are really excited, more than we are used to. If you take into consideration that people in Bulgaria and in Romania, their basic salary is really low.
Yeah.
They don't have the chance, you know, to fly over to the main festivals of Europe. So all the tours that are passing by their area and they can afford it, they just go in there and go crazy. Yeah. And it's really, really nice. I mean, you can see people's, you know, love or support and dedication. Yeah. That even they don't have the money to, I mean, to get along in their everyday life, they save some money because they want to go and see a concert. And this is really respectful And to me is like being honored, you know.
Yeah.
Γεια χαρά, είμαι ο Νίκος από Suicidal Angels και παρακολουθείτε MULATSCHAG TV Thrash.
MULATSCHAG!